Okay, guys, we are back inside of After Effects. We've added, or we've created our composition. We've added our elements, repositioned them, resized them, and just added a text element. I know it's real simple, but we're just going over the foundations right now. Hey, let's go ahead and animate. So I think I'll have this guy start off screen and fly on screen. I'll have this guy start up here and fly down here. And I'll have this guy come over here and fly over there. I'm going to control Z to undo that movement that I did. Okay, so because we already have our stopping points, we're going to work backwards with the animations. So I'm going to do 15-second or 1-second animations. So step one, I need some more room down here in my timeline. I'm real bunched down here. I don't need the effects right now. I'm going to close that. The preview, I'll close that. Info, close that. Audio, close that. And you can see I've extended this area a little bit. I can toggle my switches to make more room down here so that I'm conscious of how I'm working down here in this area. Okay, I'm going to start with the first image. I can use the visibility icon to take a look at that. If you want to, you can select that layer, hit enter, and rename it. I'm going to call it Willy 1. For this image, I'll use the visibility icon and name this me. And I'll call this one Willy 2. So that now you can see that it switched from source name to layer name. But you can always populate the source name if you want. Right now I'll be working with the layer name. So a lot going on in After Effects, you guys. Since I want to animate position, I'm going to select Willy 1, P for position. You can see a couple of things happen. I now have this area underneath the layer that's gray waiting for a keyframe. I've also revealed the X value, scrub left and right, Control Z, and the Y value. If you scrub that up and left and right, you can see it's moving vertically. So what I want to do is I want to go to where I want this animation to end. I'm going to move my playhead to 1 second. Remember, control left and right arrow keys to nudge so that you nudge everything to 1 second. Bam. Playhead is now at 1 second. I can now click the stopwatch for position. I've added a keyframe. And you can see the keyframe. I'm going to now move my playhead back to the beginning of the timeline where there's no keyframe. And I'm simply going to take Little Willy and scrub him off screen. If you want to constrain that to a vertical movement, then hold the shift key after you start moving Little Willy. A couple of things are going to happen. You're going to create this motion path. You're also going to generate a new keyframe at the beginning of the timeline. When you play this, you can see now that Little Willy starts off screen and he moves on screen into position. I like that. The animation is complete. What I like to do is ease in my second keyframe by simply selecting it, right clicking, and playing around with some of the assistants. Easy ease in is great for easing into an effect. Sometimes when I ease out of something, I choose easy ease out. So I'm going to be easing into that stopping motion, so I'll choose that. And you can see the keyframe has changed. It's now saying that, hey dude, you're easing into the effect. Make sure that's what you want. I'll go ahead and deselect, Control S, press my home key, and spacebar to play. And now you can see Little Willy shoots into. If it's too slow for you, then you can take the second keyframe and move it back. Now Little Willy zips on screen from the beginning to frame 9. But I can move that keyframe back a little bit. So now Willie comes in at frame 19. I'll scrub to 1 second and move the keyframe to 1 second. Look at that, it's not snapping. Well, if you hold your shift key, that keyframe should snap to the playhead. Bam. So the CTI, the playhead, is so important. Muy importante. Understanding keyboard shortcuts and stuff come in handy as well. So that's my first animation. I'm going to keep my playhead right there. I'm going to close down the value for little Willie. I'll press the U key. Bye-bye. I'll select me. So for me, I like this stopping position. And at the 2 second mark, I want me to be right here. So from 1 second to 2 seconds, it's going to start at the top and come here. So I can go to the 2 second mark, select me, and press P for position. I'll click the stopwatch to add a keyframe. I'm now going to move my playhead back to the 1 second mark. And now I can move me off screen. So I'll zoom out a tad. I'll take me and I'll move me. I'll introduce the shift key after I move. Sorry. And there's my second animation. So hopefully it's getting a lot easier, you guys. And before long, you'll be animating and it takes like a second. Literally, you know. We'll Control S to save, spacebar to play. Again, if the timing is too slow and stuff like that, you can always adjust keyframes. I think I'll move the second keyframe of me forward to slow down or speed up that animation. I'll go back and select Willie 1 and press P and maybe slow down its animation as well. And I'll move this first keyframe, this one in. So you see how we're adjusting the timing just by dragging keyframes, you guys. The animation starts here and it ends. This one start here and it ends. And you can move them all if you want. I can even start little Willie after me. Move little Willie down and look. Now I come in and then little Willie. So you see how these keyframes are working. Once you get the hang of it, there's nothing going on. Okay, I am going to select the second keyframe and assistant. Ease into that for me. I'll deselect Control S and take a look at my animation. Ooh, it looks like I'm coming in super quick. I'll stick with it. But if I don't want to, I can just move this one to create some space. You see how the ease in is pretty cool? Notice I set that play range so that now I'm looping. Keyboard shortcut N as in Nancy to set your work area. So that you're looping and looping and looping to take a look at the animation and adjust that timing. Okay, Control S to save. I'm going to go to the last keyframe by holding my shift key and snapping the CTI. And then I'll close down this stuff by pressing the U key. Bye bye. I'll select Willie number 2, P for position. It's a good idea, you guys, to always have some extra area outside of your workspace. Whether you use that middle scroll mouse or the view pop-up window to set some type of percentage so that you can see outside the TV screen. Okay, little Willie is off on screen. So you can see my animations have been sped up. Look at this. Let me grab here and grab here. Everything now ends at like 1 second. I'll keep it. I can always adjust timing later. So at the 1 second mark, I'll select Willie 2. I like where he is, so I'm going to move in time, maybe to 2 seconds. and I'll click to add a stopwatch keyframe for position. Bam. I'll go back to the second keyframe by holding my shift key and snapping to the position of me. And then I'll just take little Willie and move him off screen. Bam. Second keyframe has been created. It's all about me adjusting timing now, so I can grab the second keyframe, select them both, move them both in time, select this keyframe, move them, select these two, move them over, and you can see now I've created this little stagger effect. So this top layer comes in first, then this one, and then Willie 2. Just working with the position parameters. I can always right click that second keyframe and use my assistant to ease it in. Thank you, keyframe assistant. Control S to save. Press my home key. I'll press the U key to close down that wacky stuff. And I'll stretch out my windows. Middle mouse to scroll in a little bit. And I'll play it. You can see I've set a work area so that the animation loops right after the last picture comes in. Perfect. Now it's just a matter of me animating the Power 106. We forgot the bar, huh? If you want to add a bar to this, by all means, add a bar, you guys. Take it to the next level. But I'm going to select the Power 106 layer. I'm going to go to the end of the end of the animation. So I'll press Willie, P for position, to take a look at that keyframe. Hold my shift key and just snap to that keyframe. Bam. So this is where everything stops. And this is where I want my Power 106 to animate on screen. I don't know where you guys are at. Your timing may be totally different. If it is, that's cool. I'll select the text layer and animation, browse the presets. Bridge should open up. If it doesn't, then you open it up yourself. And hopefully you're now at the animation presets. I'll select text and animate in. And you guys can select whatever animation you want. Remember, sometimes selecting the animation will require you to go under the hood to tweak some of these. I'll do this, fly in from the bottom. So with that text layer selected, I'll go ahead and double click the effect. Hopefully that will close down bridge. Your text will disappear. And as you play through it, you'll see that now this text flies on screen. I'm going to go to the end of the Power 106 and reset my work area. So that now when I hit my spacebar, everything loops. Okay, nice and clean. Isn't After Effects so cool? If you want to adjust the timing of that Power 106 stuff, well, it may become pretty techy. And what I mean by that, I'm going to stop with my spacebar. I'm going to press the letter U twice to close down any keyframes. I'll select the Power 106 layer, and I'll press U to reveal the keyframes that are generating the effect. For your effect, you may press U and find that there's 20 keyframes down here. For me, there's only the range selector that's triggering the effect. And you can see the length between the two keyframes. So I like how it starts, but I want it to end a little bit quicker. So I'll take the last keyframe and move it downstream, and you can even see how I'm adjusting the timing of the effect. So that at my first keyframe, range selector reads 0. And at my second keyframe, range selector reads 100%. So it's spitting out those letters, and it finishes and it starts and stops between the keyframes. Okay, that's going to do it for the animation. The tutorials are handy. You can use them to create your own effects. What you're going to do now is you're going to use 3 images of your own and create your own effect using different pictures, different font families, colors, etc. Hey, we almost forgot one last thing, huh? Exporting. So I like what's happening. Control S to save. I'll go home and just preview everything without my title safe. Later we'll talk about adding some music, so when the images fly in we can have them like and it always helps with a little bit of audio. Perfect. I'll add this to the render queue and I'm done. So make sure the split screen is selected either in the project panel or down here in your timeline. And you can go ahead and add this to the render queue. Composition, add to render queue. I'll select lossless, but again, I want everything to be visible. If you want this to be a logo, remember you can choose RGB plus alpha. I think I'll keep the black background. So just RGB for me. If you don't like the background color, we'll take a look at that in another tutorial. You would have to create a solid layer and place it at the bottom of your stack. I'll simply click the output 2 name, bam, and I'll save this as split screen effect. This is going to go to my show 9 extras folder. And I'll add Power 106. I'll save it and I'll hit my enter key to trigger the animation. And that's about it. You should have heard music to your ears when things were done. You can minimize everything and go out and take a look and see what's happening using whatever method you like. And now I have a nice little Power 106 opening before I show my highlight reel or something. So hopefully that helped you guys and you can use the tutorials. It gets a lot of greasier from this point forward. We'll really be going under the hood, so make sure you guys get these foundations under your belt. If you have any questions whatsoever, let me know. Hopefully you're familiar with the S key for scaling, P as in Paul for position, and you understand a little bit now about keyframing. A lot of times you can keyframe backwards, clicking the stopwatch, going back, and adjusting the picture. Okay, thanks for watching.